Hey Swifties! Welcome to a brand new episode of Swiftie School, where together we walk Clownelia Street covering the latest news and Easter eggs from our fearless leader, Taylor Swift. I'm your host, Reagan Bailey, and it is enchanting to have you here. Now that we're out of the woods, let's get into today's episode.
It's another great day to be alive at the same time as Taylor Swift. Hi! I'm back from London. I have a little bit of a head cold, so sorry. Honk, honk, beep, beep, sniff, sniff, sneeze, sneeze. That's me. Hi. I have a little bit of a cold, but we're pushing through today, so bear with me. We have so much to talk about. And by so much, I mean we have a new music video. Florence and the Machine made an appearance during Florida during the Georgia Post Department set. We had Jack Antonoff. We had Ed Sheeran. We're on a break from the European leg, heading back into the North America leg of the tour. I am gobsmacked at the amount of Swiftivities that have happened in the past, week, and we're right on the corner, coming around the corner, heading into the VMAs soon. So I don't even know where to dive in today. I have some really great Swiftie submissions from you guys. We had such a fun clown call this past weekend. I was celebrating my 1-year anniversary of Swiftie School, and I cannot even believe we are 55 episodes in, over a year of the podcast, over a year of the Instagram. So much has happened over the past year, but for the sake of today's episode, oh my gosh, and I forgot to mention, I was filmed for a Taylor Swift documentary. Again, like I said, so much to talk about. So let's just go ahead and dive into London itself, because a lot of you guys wanted to know, what was my experience like? How was the safety? Was it expensive? What was it like? If you've never been to London before, let me paint the picture for you. It's essentially New York on steroids, but 10 times cleaner and way more spread out with a lot more history. Does that make sense? Like, think of the brownstone buildings in New York. That's kind of the vibe of London, but everywhere, and a lot more greenery and just very proper and very fancy and very cutesy and very demure and very fun. Okay? I love London. It's great. Also, fabulous travel experience because obviously everyone speaks English, so it's really easy travel anxiety-wise and all that jazz. In terms of security, I was definitely curious to see what security would be like all throughout the city, specifically obviously at Wembley Stadium and surrounding the stadium and that sort of jazz, but I have to say, I think I'm a little jaded security-wise because the US is a dumpster fire disaster, specifically Los Angeles. Let's just call it how it is. Los Angeles is a place. It is an interesting place, and there's a lot happening here. Would I say it's the safest place on planet Earth? Definitely not. But did I feel incredibly, incredibly safe, not just at Wembley Stadium, but around the entirety of London? Absolutely. The thing that surprised me most, and yes, I've been to London before, but it was literally 10 years ago while I was still in school, so it was a very different experience. The thing about London I like most is that, okay, it's a love-hate thing. The city truly closes at like 10 o'clock. There is nothing, literally nothing, open. Like, kitchens at restaurants are all closed by 9:30 or 10. There are some pubs that will stay open till like 10:30, 11. We were able to find one in like a mile radius of all of where we were staying, which was a very common, popular area near like King's Cross. One pub that stayed open till 12, and it looked like half the city was there. Really, truly, everything, like by midnight, it's a wrap. Like London, everyone's asleep, work-life balance, we love it. And safety-wise, it wasn't like Los Angeles where like the zombies come out after dark. It was very much like everybody, public transport's closed. Everyone needs to go home, put on your cozy clothes, and get in bed and recharge for the next day. We had a hilarious situation happen. We were in the hotel. We were starving. It was like our second day there, so we weren't fully adjusted yet. And we were our time zones were obviously off. And it was like, I don't know, maybe 11 o'clock at night. And we wanted to see if the hotel restaurants were open. So we go downstairs, and the manager of the restaurant was like, no, sorry. Typically what we Brits do is like, we just go to bed and wait for breakfast. And I was like, oh, we're called out. We are called out as Americans because I'm used to being able to Postmate a nice little pork ramen if I want to at 2:30 in the morning if I am craving it. So love the fact that it's very safe and everything is closed, and it feels like as a woman you can walk the streets without having to look over your shoulder every 65 seconds. But it was great. It was a lovely experience in this city as a whole, and the stadium experience going to both the O2 and Wembley impeccable. The fact that you can just bebop around on the tube, pop off the tube directly to the stadium property, walk right up. Wembley specifically is really cool because it has like an entire kind of city built around it. Like there's restaurants, there's apartment buildings, and it's very much like this. I think they called it Wembley Park kind of area. So it made it fun pre Eras Tour show to kind of mix and mingle in that area. Which brings me to talking about the documentary because so many of you guys, you nosy Nellies over there, not nosy, I definitely sneak peeked it a little bit, saw that I was being filmed for a documentary. Now, this has been a long time coming. Side note, you know, when you're sick and you sound nasally, and when you sing, you're like, ooh, am I good? I'm also watching the show. This is a total sidebar. I'm watching the show Popstar Academy right now, and I full-heartedly believe that I could make a K-pop team if you put me on that show. I think I could do it, even though I'm literally 10 years older than all of these girls that are trying to be a part of the Cat's Eye Popstar Academy, whatever, dream team. I think I could do it. Highly recommend that show. It's very good, especially if you enjoyed like Dance Moms back in the day, but without the drama, this show's it. Anyways, I digress. The documentary. This was a long time coming. I had been speaking with this documentary team. Essentially, it's two different production companies, one from the US, one from the UK, coming together to film this documentary. They have not yet started filming. The only reason they were filming me on the day of my show on Saturday, 8/17, was because they really wanted to include me in the documentary, which I'm so flattered about. They really wanted to include me. Filming doesn't start until later in the year, and they wanted to make sure they got footage of a Swiftie attending the shows and sort of the behind the scenes of that prior to the European leg ending. So I was sort of an exception. I was the absolute first day of filming for them, and they're not really filming anything until later in the year. So that was really cool. I can't really tell you much other than it's not an official Taylor Swift documentary. Like I said, it's two different production companies coming together, and then it's my understanding that like I don't really know that they would sell it or it would go eventually on a streaming platform or something like that. Again, I don't really know and I'm not able to share much other than that, but I'll tell you my experience because I can tell you that is that they came to my hotel very early in the morning on the day of my show, attending the Eras Tour on Saturday, and filmed me pretty much all day. Not pretty much. They literally filmed me all day long from the time I like woke up and started getting ready to the time of like walking into the stadium and the show happening. But it was really, really cool for a lot of you guys who came up to me and wanted to trade bracelets and all that because it was able to be filmed and that was sort of unexpected and it happened really serendipitously. And I think it was like kind of surprising for them as well. So I am very excited whenever this does come out. Obviously, I will tell you more details when I'm allowed to. I'm excited to see kind of look back on it, I guess, like on the experience, because obviously it'll be a while before it ever comes out. But it is not the same documentary as the so-called rumored Taylor Swift documentary that a lot of you guys have mentioned. Apparently or allegedly, some people were asked at Wembley Stadium to sign NDAs and be filmed for a documentary. Now, apparently that documentary was allegedly a official Taylor Swift documentary. Mine was not. So that's that. I will leave it there. I will say, because my day was very much dominated by filming the documentary for the documentary, I am so, so, so incredibly grateful that I was approached by one of you guys to purchase your single ticket for the show on 8/20 because I feel like I wasn't in the headspace that I wanted to be in heading into the Eras Tour show on Saturday because I was so overstimulated by the fact I had a literal camera film crew team. I had to ride in like a specific car with them so that I could be mic'd up all day. I mean, I'm not kidding. I had like a mic taped in my chest, like of my dress. I was very much on. And I feel like by the time the show happened on Saturday, I was entirely drained. Like I didn't have any energy left. I had been talking to a camera and or people all day long for like 8 hours at that point. So I am so, 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 so grateful for that Tuesday ticket because I feel like I would have had a lot of regrets for saying yes to doing the documentary if I didn't have an additional ticket. I know that I'm very lucky to have that situation happen to me, and that's obviously not everyone's case, but also not everyone was filming a documentary for 8 hours before they walk into the Wembley Stadium. So anyways, you guys know I went to the Saturday show. I absolutely lost my marbles when she started singing I Did Something Bad. I thought For a split second, I was like, oh my God, it's Reputation. Reputation is happening. It's here. And honk honk, beep beep, womp womp. We were fooled yet again. And then again on Tuesday, but that's okay. I was sitting on Saturday, kind of on the side of the stage. I believe it was section 126. An excellent view. I actually feel like it's one of the best views that you can have. I had an excellent view on Tuesday as well, which was section 113, which kind of looks straight onto the stage. I looked directly to the side of the stage on Saturday, and I really like both of those views. I think they were probably the best views that I've had of any of the shows that I've gone to. And yes, even better than the floor. I am not a floor person. I don't like the crowds. I don't like the squishiness. I don't like standing there not being able to like get a drink, snack, or go to the bathroom. I also just feel like it's very claustrophobic. It's not my vibe. I'm also 5'2", so I literally can't see anything if someone is like dancing or moving around. But that's that. Now, Tuesday was a different vibe for me because I went to the show by myself. And on Saturday, I went with Matt. And I did ask him, not for permission, but like, you know, this was a trip that we were going on together. It was a trip for us at the end of the day. And I wanted to make sure he was okay with me abandoning him, essentially, for the entirety of Tuesday to attend another Eras Tour show. He was totally fine with it. It was a different experience going by myself. I had gone by myself once before to Eras Tour Night 1 in Glendale, Arizona. Had an absolute blast. But I definitely wish that I could have experienced it with him because, you know, fun things are more fun when you're with other people, and that's just how it is. But nonetheless, this ticket, I can't even believe that I got it. And all was normal up until the point of the Torture Poets Department set. My plan, because I was by myself and in a foreign country, was I was going to leave at the beginning of the Midnight's era. I have been lucky enough to attend the Eras Tour 4 times. I was anxious about public transportation by myself. I didn't feel comfortable doing it. And so Matt and I made a plan that he was going to meet me outside the stadium when Midnight started, because following our experience Saturday, which was, it literally took 3 hours for us to get an Uber home, and public transportation was an absolute disaster and a half, I wanted to make sure I left early. That being said, I missed the music video reveal, if you call it. I don't want to call it an announcement because they didn't really announce the music video. They just started playing it at the end of the show, which a lot of people are like, oh, it was meant for the people who stay. Okay, listen, Deborah, I have stayed. I have been here since day one. I just was worried about my safety. So I sprinted after surprise song set going into Midnights. But that being said, when Florida started happening, my guard was down because I was like, I was just preparing for surprise songs and I had my phone out. I was ready to go live to show you guys what the surprise songs were going to be. And then all of a sudden, the whole stadium went green and the visuals changed behind Taylor to like kind of like a foresty situation with like a green lights border. And in the wise words of T Swizzle, tell him how the crowd went wild. Oh, they went wild, including myself. I have to say, I do really, really like Florence the Machine, the dress that she wore. And we were talking about this on my Patreon clown call. What are the odds, Florence or not, that Torture Poets set now includes Florida? Because especially, we're going into the Miami shows next. It only makes sense to sing Florida at those 3 shows. But number 2, they created choreography for this set. And it was very obvious that this wasn't just thrown together at the 11th hour. So my thought is like, there's no way in heck that they put together all this effort for this performance just to happen once, especially going into the Florida shows. So I don't know. I kind of see it as like a no body, no crime situation. I could definitely see it being integrated into the rest of the tour. And that's that. I loved it. It was fantastic. I think Florence looked beautiful and they looked like they were having an absolute blast. Now, where I am stuck forever, and you guys will have to peel my dead body away from this moment, is the fact that me, little old me, got Getaway Car, Death by a Thousand Cuts, and So Long London, followed by the fact that I got I Did Something Bad on Saturday. I think that's the most elite surprise song combination of all combinations. You can fight me to my grave on that one because I'm in a getaway car, followed with my heart, my hips, my body, my love, trying to find a part of me that you didn't touch. Give up on me like I was a bad drug. Now I'm searching for signs in a haunted club. Our songs, our films, united we stand. Our country, guess it was a lawless land. I'm out of breath. I'm too sick for this. Anyways, that was wild. Absolutely wild. And then I had zero time to recover before Mother just went into So Long, London. And it was fantastic. And I'll never recover. But I won't rub that into your face any longer because we have to discuss the music video. So many thoughts. And here's my honest, overarching opinion. This was not a music video. This was a trailer for the Eras Tour documentary, in which I think will be called I Can Do It With a Broken Heart, the same way that her past documentary is called Miss Americana. I think it will be called I Can Do It With a Broken Heart. Mark my words, this was a proven fact that they have been filming all this time, dating back to Arlington of last year. Coupled with the fact that fans said they had been filmed, I think that we're getting a documentary. I think it'll either be a documentary or it'll be like a 6 to 8 part series on Netflix or something like that, Disney Plus. My gut says it'll be a one-parter situation or like a movie or documentary because then they could show it in theaters. If they were to do like a multi-part situation, I could see it being like 2-hour parts or something like that. And then they would play like one in theaters. But I don't know. That just doesn't seem, my gut is saying a documentary. Now, why I bring up the documentary and my thoughts on the music video, I have a lot of thoughts on the music video, but I feel like we should talk about that another time as to like all my little Easter eggs and clues and hints, is the obvious dates that are coming up. And if you're sick of clowning, I apologize. You're in the wrong place. But bear with me for a moment here because these are obvious things that are in our face. And I vowed a while back that we need to rein it in and focus on the obvious. The obvious that's coming up is the VMAs. They're happening on 9/11. They were pushed from 9/10 to 9/11. 15 years ago, on September 13th on Friday, marks the 15-year anniversary of the Kanye incident. The bead game over on TikTok, which is in conjunction with Taylor Nation, so a literal Taylor Swift date, the bead game expires or ends on September 12th. They also recently made an update or change to the bead game where they changed the final week from Taylor Swift, like the album debut, to self-titled is what the bead that you can now collect is. And if you're unfamiliar with the bead game, again, a little bit too long to explain right now, but essentially this 12-week game has been going on over on TikTok in partnership with TikTok and Taylor Nation, where you do silly little things every week, like post a video with hashtag Taylor Nation, and you get a little bead that goes on your profile to show that you're a Swiftie. And at the end, if you complete all 12 weeks, you get like a little profile bead or tag or something that says you're a Swiftie. That's it. But the dates have been very interesting. And the fact that it ends on September 12th, VMAs are a day before, and then the 13th, September 13th, Friday, September 13th, the 15-year anniversary of Reputation, is that Friday, has me on high alert. Also, to remind you, Friday, September 13th is 13 weeks before Taylor's birthday. So, do I think that debut is coming? Do I think that Taylor's going to announce Reputation? Do I think that we're going to get Debutation? Do I think that we're going to get an announcement for Eras Tour film documentary? All of the above. I am down for any of it, but at the very, 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 very least, I think her outfit will hold so many clues. And, or her acceptance speech will hold so many clues. She might not do anything. She might just like say there will be no explanation, there will just be Reputation and walk away. Like, she'll do something. I just know it. I feel it in my bones, and I'm standing on that. Now, I have a couple of shout outs for you guys before we head into some Swiftie submissions because so many new Patreon members. I had so much fun on the clown call. If you guys are interested in joining my next ones in September, please join. I also have a very fun bonus download happening on September 1st. The bonus downloads are a part of the Patreon subscription. If you join the junior, senior, or sorority tier, you get those included in your membership. And the one for September is a VMA document. Like, it's kind of fun. You fill it out before the VMAs start and then you follow along and like see how many points you get. Report back to the Patreon for a little competition between all the members. So anyways, shout out to some new members. We've got AZ Babes, Claire, Anna Grace, Joanna, Michelle, Alice, and Jody. Welcome to the Patreon. So happy to have you. Now, the submissions today low-key impressed me. There were quite a few good ones, but I picked this one from Charlotte, where she said, I've been listening to Taylor since the beginning, but I've only recently begun to consider myself a Swiftie. It's totally possible that I've missed this being talked about, but it seems like no one paid much attention to the Eras shows where there was a green wristband with butterflies and the number 24 on it. Lisbon night 1 on May 24th. And then the next night, the wristband was black with snakes and the number 25. Lisbon night 2, May 25th. To me, it seems that this is a clear as day sign that debut is coming in 2024 and Reputation is coming in 2025. Am I missing something? I'm not sure if this means that it is when they will be announced or released, but it seems like it has to mean something. Do we know anything more about those wristbands? Have other concerts had wristbands like those, or was that a one-off? Charlotte. Fantastic call out, because I do feel and agree with you that we glazed over this way too fast. From my understanding, there are no other shows that had these butterfly snake wristbands. And if you're not familiar with the wristbands we're talking about, they're kind of just those basic paper wristbands that, like, you know, some security guard or bouncer at like a club would have to put on your wrist. And these happened at Lisbon, you're correct, Lisbon night 1 and Lisbon night 2 on the 24th and the 25th. I have never thought of it this way, as correlating the dates of the shows with the dates of the year. A lot of people have this inkling that Reputation will be coming in 2025 because it's also the year of the snake for Chinese lunar calendar. And debut, if it is going to come out this year, there's no way Reputation, in my opinion, would also come out in the next like 4 months, because you're going to want to have one of them shine for a little bit longer than that. And if anything, a lot of people are like, oh, debut and then Reputation on her birthday. But the reality is, like, missing out on holiday sales, like selling CDs and merch and everything for Reputation by releasing it at the end of December, it just doesn't make sense from a marketing capitalist queen perspective. You know what I mean? So I think you're onto something here. If we do see, hypothetically, debut announcement sometime with the VMAs or September 13th or at one of the final Eras Tour shows, you are absolutely correct in that we probably wouldn't see Reputation until next year. And maybe that would be her only album next year, and that would be like a whole big thing. I have no idea, but I like where your head is at. And thank you for sending that in. Now, next is from Grace U. And Grace said, I was doing some research and I figured out that on the last night in London, the 1989 outfit was the same color as the MTV iconic colors. Okay, very interesting. Also, I think she is going to add Florida to the set list. I think she might even announce Rep TV soon, so she could play some of the new songs during surprise songs. Or she might announce the debut album and add that to the set list. I love you and your podcast. Thank you, Grace, for sending this in. I like where your head's at. I have said this as well. The fact that debut is not a part of the Eras Tour befuddles me. I understand she might feel like, oh, people aren't big fans of it, or oh, maybe everyone doesn't enjoy this music, or maybe like I'm not a country artist anymore. But it is still a part of her eras. Like, it was an era. And to just completely skip over the era confuses me. I've always thought that maybe this is why the Speak Now set is so short. And if she could do a short Speak Now set, she could certainly do a short debut set. Like, even if she just wore the same Fearless dress and did like an Evermore Folklore situation where she like kind of married the two eras, she could very much wear her little twirly Fearless dress and just do a couple debut songs and change the background, you know, the backdrop. I think that that's totally a possibility. My question for you guys that I'd love for you to send in is, if she were to add debut to the set list, what song, if she had to pick one song, what song would it be? For me personally, The Other Side of the Door or Tim McGraw. I mean, it's so hard. They're both so good. Oh, goodness. But that's a wrap on all things Taylor Swift, London, Wembley, documentary, music video. I mean, I really feel like we're kind of experiencing that viral TikTok audio that's like bus, club, another club. That is how it's felt the past couple of weeks for me, but also for the Swifthood in general. But thank you guys for being here. If you liked today's episode, please share it with a friend, rate it, review it, share it to your Instagram stories, tag me, whatever you got to do. I would absolutely love and appreciate any support that you could share, because I can't believe we've been doing this for a year. It's so wild and crazy. Hopefully my voice did not drive you absolutely nuts today, because I know all too well how annoying it is to listen to a podcast where someone's voice is annoying. I tried my best, folks. I'm going to go sip some tea and eat 65 lozenges and kick up my feet and watch some Popstar Academy. As always, it was another great day to be live at the same time as Taylor Swift, and I will see you on the next one. Bye!
Thanks for tuning in to today's episode. I know all too well how busy life can be, and I am so grateful that you chose to stay. Now just know this is me trying, and I would greatly appreciate if you took a minute to leave a review or maybe share this episode with a fellow Swiftie. Make sure you join my broadcast channel on Instagram for more Swiftivities, and long story short, this love is real, and I'm beyond grateful for your support. See you next time!